Hello everyone and welcome to episode 14 of GuildGab. We're back. This is a show where we talk about anything and everything Guild Wars 2, focusing on the PvE and the lore. We've got some catching up to do because it's been a little while since we've had a show, but we're always ready to talk about anything and everything Guild Wars, so let's do it. First, let me introduce my co-hosts. Akasaurus Rex is here.
Howdy doody, folks.
And Alex from the RPG Shack.
Evening, guys. Hello.
And we might have a Corvus popping in from time to time. he's having some technical difficulties, so if he pops in,
if you believe
awesome.
in Corvus, he'll
Yes,
appear.
if you keep chanting Corvus, 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 he might show up. So, we're kind of in a I don't want to call it a lull, but we're between episodes right now. We're on a break in Living World Season 2. But we've had a lot of fun stuff to fill the gap. We've had the September 9th feature pack, which was just full of fun features and great upgrades to the game. And currently we have the World vs. World Fall Tournament going on right now. And we have always a lot of awesome things in the gem store, as well as Black Lion weapons and stuff. What do you guys think of all these fun features that have been going on between episodes?
For most of it, I've been really enjoying it. I'm slightly disappointed with myself that I couldn't be bothered to do 5 events in World v World last week.
No, really?
So,
oh no! It's so easy.
I know. I got a little bit too into Shadow of Mordor, and
I see.
Yeah, and then someone says, "Have you done it?" I was like, no, and I'd missed the Friday cutoff. It's like I can do it at the weekend, and now I forgot about it. So that's another missed title that I can't get. But by and large, the rest of the feature pack I've been really impressed with. There's been some really cool UI changes. Most of it, my favorite thing is it's got to be the miniatures wardrobe.
Yes, I agree. I love that.
That's so cool.
Not only the wardrobe, but the fact that you don't have to go to your inventory and double click them. Not only do you not have to keep them in your inventory, but once you put them in the wardrobe, there's a little checkbox, and then they're always with you. I love that. I've wanted that since launch. I'm like, why isn't there like an inventory slot that you can just put your mini and then it's always following you?
And they listen to you, Aurora, so obviously.
Yeah. Well, It's great because I think when the wardrobe first came in the April patch, didn't it? I think was it the April feature patch?
Yes.
And I thought it was really, really cool, and you get all your bits and pieces there, and but there's there's a new collections thing as well, which I thought was actually quite cool.
The collections achievements.
Yeah, but earlier this week I logged into the Old Republic because I'm a glutton for punishment and wanted to see how little I could do without actually paying for the game. But I logged into to the inventory thing, and I know it's been out a couple of years longer than Guild Wars 2, but the amount of stuff like collections, wardrobes, it's just astronomical how much stuff there is in that game. And obviously I hope that the Guild Wars universe, the Guild Wars inventory continues to expand and gives us those bits, because as well as giving us a couple of really nice little ones to start us off with, like the trash collector and some of the basic armor ones. You've also got I'm sure you guys have seen like the little enchanted map scraps that you can pick up from chests, where you can get a key to open up a treasure chest or something.
Yeah, I've seen those, but I haven't gotten enough of them to actually like pay attention yet to what exactly I'm supposed to do with them. But yeah. What's been like some of your favorite of the new features? I know that you really like the new player experience, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I kind of took a kind of large break, really, for the most part, from Guild Wars 2, and with the feature patch coming in, I basically kind of gave it a whirl and just decided to kind of create a new character to just try out this whole new leveling experience and stuff that they threw in there. And it was funny because like at first I didn't think a lot of the feature pack stuff was very big or very important or very changing, but playing through it, actually it does. I mean, there's a lot of little improvements. I feel like it's been changed around. Like the really crazy wonky camera in the game feels like it's a little more solid, which is nice. And then but just like for instance, like I only play Char, right? Master Race. But But so for me, like the Plains of Ashford and like that Black Citadel starting zone, it's like really, really familiar. But doing it through like a new character, through all these new feature things, it was really cool. I mean, it just, pacing out everything, like pacing out your abilities from your weapons by level, and then pacing out the actual personal story, making it happen every 10 levels.
I love that change.
That makes it feel so much
Love that
more
change.
important, right? Because it actually severs off a really annoying thing I found. Because like leveling my first tune all the way to 80 was actually kind of a painful experience and sort of annoying, because when you finally finished your personal story thing, the next one was often like 2 or 3 levels higher than you actually were. And it was so annoying because you're like, I just wanted to get to the other thing of that chapter and finish it, but now I've got to bugger around to.
And you kind of had to do like one section of the story at a time, and now you kind of get to do an entire chapter of the story at one time. And I've said this before, but I cannot tell you how many times new players, a lot of times people that I've gotten into the game, will message me and say, my personal story is too hard. I don't know why I keep dying, and they get frustrated as soon as they're new to the game, and they're getting frustrated because they're at level 3 and the personal story is too hard for them because they're trying to do a level 6 personal story, and they just keep dying, and they don't understand what else to do to level up. And so now with the content guide system, which is amazing, I love that thing. It'll point you, until you get to level 10, it's going to tell you, go do this heart quest, go explore the world, which is what you're supposed to do between your story missions to level up. It'll tell you, go explore the world, go do the heart quests, and get vistas and stuff, and in order to level up to get there. And then you can do a whole chunk of the story at a time, and I love that. I love that so much.
Like that. Sorry, yeah.
I was gonna say one of the things that I thought was is like little touches are really cool. There's now an NPC in each of the starting zones where you learn how to dodge. That one was really cool. I thought the game was just being exceptionally patronizing to me, telling me that I was a terrible player, just like, I'll learn to dodge, you noob. And I said, all right, well, if you're gonna be like that about it, Guild Wars.
But you know what? That is the absolute easiest place to get your daily dodger.
Exactly. You could just go backwards and forwards and backwards, and then you can watch new players fail at it miserably and have a good laugh, and you can just record it into like a montage. Yeah, I'm a terrible person. But
also though, just like on that, was that the thing that I really liked about that was that when you do that dodge thing, you actually get a little piece of gear that
you do.
at
the chest in the middle,
that level, right? It's like a lot better than what you have. So there's that incentive to actually do it. I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. You just kind of do the dodge, and you get this nifty little new, better piece of gear, which is like, okay, cool. Yeah, that's a good idea. So.
I mean, I've got to be honest. I was slightly apprehensive about some of the changes that they made to the new player experience. I still don't necessarily agree with the level gating of the weapon abilities. I think that having them unlock as you use them was certainly a more unique idea. And
I liked that, and I didn't like that, but I think they unlock now as you level up, right? Yeah. So I don't know which I prefer. I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, it's alright. I mean, because I think by the time you get to level 20, if there aren't any that you've got, you could just kill something and you get it straight away. So
right.
I didn't see that was much of a problem. But there's something that I noticed on... if you play an Elementalist, your particular elemental attunements are gated behind levels, so I guess they've had to deal with that already. But there's the Guardian Virtues, they're level gated now as well. So you have Virtue of Justice, which you just use to set everything on fire, which makes everything a lot easier when you're a Guardian, especially at low levels.
Yeah.
You've kind of got to wait a little bit for that, and coupled with the fairly hefty spike in when you can get your utility skills. And which I do think they actually dropped that back down quite a way, didn't they?
They have adjusted them. Since the feature patch, they adjusted a lot of that stuff. You used to have to wait until level 40 to get your elite skill. Now it's 31. Like you said, those guardian skills, like if I would key farm, I would do a Guardian, and when I used an experience scroll after the patch to level up to 20, I still didn't have my Virtue of Courage. And I'm like, what the heck?
Really?
Now you do. They
Okay.
changed it. They changed it. I'm pretty sure. So they did adjust the levels of all of those a little bit. And the leveling from 1 to 15, I believe it is much, much faster now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
again, aside from a few minor quibbles with how like the skill bar and that kind of thing, I completely disagree with the no down state before level 5 as well. To me, that was one of the core mechanics that was drawing people to the game and saying, look, when you go down, it's not the end. You've got a chance to fight back and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And to me, there's kind of no point getting rid of it, and it's a little bit condescending to say that players don't understand it. And as far as I've gathered, this is exactly the kind of thing that the Chinese players coming to the game fairly recently have said as well. It's like, well, no, we actually want these. And I hate to be negative about it, because 99.9% of what's coming with with the feature patch is so cool. Like you said, the new leveling experience is so fast and it's so streamlined, and it's just great for new players to get into the game, as I'm sure all of your Moonies have
Yes,
found out as they've come in.
I sure don't get that question anymore. I've gotten some Moonies into Guild Wars 2, and I don't get PM'd going, I can't do my personal story, I don't understand. Not once since the feature patch. So it's working. As far as the down state, I can understand people saying, well, that's a stupid thing to take out of the game, but it's only to level 5.
Yeah.
Which is what,
Yeah.
15 minutes? It's
See,
so it's
that's the
really
thing,
not
it's
that
only
big of
to
a deal.
level 5.
If they didn't give you downstate until like level 20, then that would
Yeah,
be like
that
an
would
insult.
That would be
But it's only
insane.
level 5, so
Yeah,
that's
I
not-
guess. Yeah.
Well, the thing also,
I'm a picky man.
yeah.
Picky man.
The other thing that I really like what they've been doing with like the whole leveling process overall is that, I mean, like, there's the compass feature that Aurora, you were talking about
Love
with
that.
the little like thing. That thing I find is like, I don't see it at all as condescending, having played through like this chart area billions of times myself, but it works for both veterans that have played through the content tons of times and the new people, because it really does help you, just direct you. And it's so easy to get into a heart area that's out of your level, but you don't realize it unless you actually look close and go,
Yeah.
oh,
That's
that's
true.
2 levels, 5 levels ahead
That's
of
true.
me. Oops. Whereas like the compass is handy because it'll often point you in a direction of things that are your level, so you can just strictly go straight
Yeah, and
to
they've
that
improved
one.
that since the 9th as well. They've also improved that. It's
Right.
less likely now to point you into areas you're way too high of a level for. And the other thing is, now in map chat, I'm not telling people about their personal story. Now I'm telling them about the content direction system to use it for map completion.
Yeah.
I put out a video on that, and everybody that I tell that to in map chat, when when someone goes, I'm missing one point of interest and I just can't find it. Where is it? I can't find it. And I tell them, go to content guide, put it on the 4th option, and it will tell you. And they go, oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, I didn't know. That's so awesome. So that makes me feel awesome when I can tell people about that.
And the other thing that I really like what they did, in a game that has like 80 levels that you have to progress through, like Warcraft like faced this issue too a lot. It still has it, like that's the issue of like when you're going up levels, it's like there's just sometimes a controversy about like whenever you upgrade a level, it should feel something. Whereas like for instance in WoW, for instance, you only get stuff often every 2 or 3 levels. Like leveling to 86 or 87 can feel very no big deal. It's like you're like just leveling through numbers. Whereas what they've done in Guild Wars 2 that I really like is that every level you pop a little icon that you click on when else, something like a little chest. And even if it's not the greatest rewards in the world or the greatest moving thing, it's
an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I love that change. Yeah, before you would, your character would like sparkle, but that was it. It didn't tell you what your stat increase was. It didn't tell you, what you got or what you unlocked. It just, you just got that flash and you're like, oh, okay, cool, I leveled. Now it's like, dun, 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 you levels, you get all this stuff. A lot of times, I think actually every level now you get rewards, right? Even if it's
Do,
just like
yeah, you do,
some
yeah.
armor or like a
Like
chest,
money and stuff, yeah.
something.
And
Sometimes it's like dyes, like it's just a random assortment of items, and that's
Yeah.
so cool. You actually get rewarded for just leveling up.
because like
Yeah.
the really nice thing about it is that you not only get rewards, but you also just get the game actually explains itself to you in like little chunks, little healthy chunks that you can easily, like not get overwhelmed by it, but they just give me these little like a couple of things saying, "Oh, this feature. Oh,
Right.
this
By the
feature.
way, there's dungeons.
This
By the
thing."
way, there's world versus world. And I think
check-
people were a little confused at first because they thought that, because it actually does say something like, oh, dungeons are now unlocked for you, or world versus
Right.
world is now unlocked for you,
Yeah.
or PvP. And that's, it should say, here's the tooltip. It's giving you the hint
Yeah.
for that. You can still go in a level 1 character and do world versus world. There's ways to get there. It's...
There was
I-
like no context for like when you were trying to figure out all these
Yeah.
different
I
aspects.
like that it's slowly introducing you to these things, and as you level up, it's telling you there's this aspect of the game, there's the trading post, there's this. But I think the way they worded it, they say something like, "Oh, now the trading post is unlocked." No, you can use the trading
It's
post.
always been there.
It's
Yeah.
always there. It's just now it's telling you about it. It's not
It's
going
there,
to
yeah.
tell you about everything all at once.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because that's like the really big thing that I like about it is because before Guild Wars 2 really does throw almost everything at you at once, and it's kind of like getting a cake and eating it all at once. It's like you're like, oh, what else do I do? Whereas like now it's like a more, spread out, and it just feels better. And
Yeah.
if you're into not, pigging out on everything, and the idea of just taking it casually, because
Yeah.
a really fun thing that I just want to mention quickly was that when I was like leveling up this like early character, I was like noticing, of course, like the trees and some of the farming nodes and stuff, but I wasn't in a big hurry to get the gathering tools. And so at about level 7 or 8 or something, it was really funny. It was like my XP to get to this next level was like that much, and I'm just like wandering around, and I'm gonna head to this place to get the gathering tools because I'm like, okay, now I want to get the gathering tools. I'm like almost 8 or 7 or something, and as soon as I hit that level, like got that little XP, the little thing that popped up said, "Oh, here are your gathering tools." I was like, "Hey,
Thank you
that's
very
really
much.
handy.
Nice.
I'll take that, thank you. I don't have to spend a penny." Okay, so that's really cool that you can that stuff's just casually, nicely sparsed out, and of course, just like the personal story thing, I like love that they basically really melded it to the actual Living World episode structure, so that it feels like that now.
it's episodic, like the
It's
living
really
world
cool.
is.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah.
I'm hopefully still waiting for. I don't know if it's eventually going to come in that you can replay aspects of your personal story, even if it's just the instances. Because I think it would be really cool at some point to find out all about the other different options that you could have taken
Yeah,
through
that's
particular
yeah.
paths. If you could potentially kind of unlock all aspects of the personal story, but then I guess you kind of killed the replayability of the personal story a little
Totally
bit.
kills my immersion if I can go back and pick a different option.
Yeah, gotta go and do it with a new character, man. And, yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. So let's go back just a little bit and mention the Dragon's Reach Part 2. We actually never had an episode about that. So and November 4th is going to be
Yeah.
episode 5, I think. Episode 5. We've had 4 episodes. It's been
Yes,
a long
it's
time. I
been
don't
entangled
remember.
in
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
So
feels a long time, but I don't think it was that long, real honestly, when you think. But yeah, sorry.
We've been spoiled.
Yeah. So obviously, I was devastated that Jenna didn't die. How could you? But yeah, it doesn't count as spoilers now, does it? Sure,
No.
This was like July, for Christ's sake.
No, there's no
Yes,
spoilers.
So the pale tree died. The shadow of the dragon came along, which it turns out is the Sylvari boss at the beginning of this
that's
Sylvari
really
personal
cool.
story,
Yes.
which I'm not entirely sure they have sneakily retconned while no one's been looking. It's because one of my very original characters was a Sylvari, and I kind of I kind of went back and thought, have they just redone the texture on this thing to make it look like the shadow of the... But it might just be my terrible memory, and I wasn't quite sure. The weird thing was, though, like, the achievements for especially the last part of the bit where where you have to fight the dragon and all that, the achievements in there were really easy to get, especially even well, yes, they were.
I know. Honestly, I don't know because you know what? I don't do the achievements because I don't have a meta reward, so I have no incentive to do the achievements. Except I really should because I think I'm like 50 achievement points away from 10,000, so I really should go and do something.
Go and do it. Like some of the living story stuff, it's just easy achievement points, and even like the challenge mode, I was like, oh, how did this? Should I bring a friend along?
Oh.
And you don't even need to do that. It's kind of strange how they did it, that you can actually get all three of these hard achievements for the last bit in the same run. But having said that, I thought it was kind of really interesting, and it was certainly the most one of the more challenging fights of the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, especially those.
It was epic.
Those what really gets me is those Mordrum threshers, the ones that just kind of spin round and round.
I hate those things.
Ruin your day.
I hate those things.
So
I actually found it like too hard for me because I've got like multiple eye problems and
there's a lot going on.
It was bugging the hell out of me, and I got frustrated. But the nice thing, at least if you're having really difficulties with an episode, you're not barred from doing the next episode, which is something that I really did like, so that you don't have to even complete all the episodes to do them, which is really nice, because for people who don't want to do that, because at the end of episode 2, there's that monster that you fight with Casimir and Marjorie.
That thing, basically the giant Mordrum Thrasher, that thing sucked.
I hate that thing.
Oh my gosh. Doing this stuff forced to do this stuff solo on the test server.
Yeah, I
shouldn't say forced. I have options to do it with people, but doing it solo, that thing was so hard. And the at the end of Dragon's Reach Part 2, yeah, that dragon was challenging solo for me anyway.
Was Dragon's Reach? This is how long it's since I last went to have a look at it. Was Dragon's Reach 2 the one where you go over to Iron Marches and there's all those open world events outside the camp that you kind of have to...
That was one. Where it ended with Ritlock going into the mists. And then Part 2 was party politics and...
Oh god, yeah.
The last one we did.
Yeah, that was kind of fun, party politics. I kind of liked that. It was something different. Combat.
It was a lot of story, and I loved going around and talking to all the other NPCs because a lot of them had a lot to say. Like there was like this older noble lady, and she's like fawning over Lord Farron and basically like stalking him, and she's like, I have the coveted Lord Farron wall calendar of... like, oh my god.
But here's the thing, did you guys keep an eye on Kanak as you went through the story?
There was a lot.
He was really fun.
Him and Countess Anise.
They're like that.
He's like her little pet now.
Yeah, so he's so at the end, if you catch him, their little bit of dialogue after you've fought the dragon. Yes, so Kanak is Anise's kind of assassin come bodyguard.
I don't know what to think of Anise. Yeah. He's going off to kind of spy on Traherne and the Pact for Countess Anise. It's like, what is going on here?
She's got some plays going on for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And I liked it how in the part 2 of Dragon's Reach when Kanak was talking to her saying like, oh, so you really like doing these illusions of yourself, so you actually may not be the age that you look in front of me, aren't you? And she could be like, I'm not answering that.
Don't ask a woman her age. Don't you dare comment on that.
That was really funny. Yeah.
Of course, that gets a lot of people thinking that she could be Livia. That's a very popular theory.
Really? What, Livia from Eye of the North?
Yeah.
No way.
Oh, have you not heard that theory?
I live in a cave.
There's all, especially... You what?
I live in a cave. I'm not really... I'm not really big on the whole kind of theory crafting thing, because then I come out with absurd theories that make no sense.
Oh, I love the theory crafting, and that's one of the big ones, is that people think that Countess Anise could be Livia in disguise.
Yeah. That's interesting, because she does... Well, yeah, because Livia was part of the Shining Blade, wasn't she? Over in... Not Mage's Falls, the one with the bit with the annoying dinosaurs. And, yeah, and then at the end, she hands the noblewoman over to the Shining Blade instead of the Lion Guard, doesn't she? I think.
Oh gosh, I don't remember, but...
Quick to the internet.
To the wiki. Well, the Shining Blade is, the ones who protect the royal line of Kryda, so it would make sense that she's protecting Queen Jenna.
Yeah.
And just like she's a mesmer, and so she could easily disguise herself. Now, I don't know. I'm making my way through Sea of Sorrows, the third novel, and apparently she is in Sea of Sorrows. So I'm like desperately trying to work my way up to that point to kind of see what her role in the book is. But that only takes place a little before Guild Wars 2, so she's obviously still alive. So that's the thing, is that we know for a fact that she has lived. She's at least 200 years old, so she's using some kind of crazy magic in order to extend her life. And at the end of Eye of the North, we saw her grab the Scepter of Or, so who knows what kind of power that could have given her. It bugs me that the biggest... there's all this evidence that she could be Livia, but the thing that people say... is like the biggest, oh no, she couldn't be, because Livia was a necromancer. And Countess Anise is a mesmer. I'm like, Guild Wars 1 had multi-classing for one.
Multi-classing?
And it's been 250 years. I think she can learn another profession in 3 lifetimes. That doesn't disprove anything that she's a mesmer and Livia was a necromancer.
Yeah.
That just makes her more powerful.
That's true, yeah.
So this has the potential of being really cool.
It does. But there was that cutscene at the end, wasn't there?
That cutscene was crazy and awesome and disappointing at the same time, because there's because it was so vague that people have a hard time theorizing on it. Like the Eternal Alchemy cutscene, people lost their friggin' minds because there was so much you could draw from it and so many theories that could come from it about the dragons and about the Eternal Alchemy and about how magic works. And then this one, it's kind of like, Glint? Maybe? That's how I feel about it.
Well, the thing is, this is a shameless plug, and I do apologise. But there's that shaman at Reddit found some weapon skins that haven't been released yet, and there's a video on my channel, and they're called Pinnacle weapon skins, and they're all like purple crystally type things.
Oh, I think I did see that. Yeah.
So yeah, I think I think we're certainly heading towards the crystal type thing.
Yeah. There's this that is the most confusing thing to me in the whole cutscene, is that there's this. It looks like a cave of purple crystals, and there's 2 things that we know from purple crystals. That's the Mersat and Kralkatorrik.
Yeah.
And it's. I don't know what to think. I don't have any I definitely think that it's this. And that's what makes me disappointed, is like it's so
Arena
vague.
puts like new meaning on abstract and vague. It's just like
that's a good it's very abstract. It's very, what are these pillars? There's like 4 or 5 pillars of light that comes up. You have the dragon flying around those pillars. You have some kind of orb or egg that appears in one of the pillars and then goes down into this crystalline cave, and the cave explodes. It's like, what does this mean? I have no idea.
I mean, I think people certainly have a field day thinking, oh, it's one of Glint's eggs and all that kind of thing, because there was the mission in Guild Wars 1 where you go through all of Glint's caves, like the 8 caves, and you fight off various people, and there was a bonus mission at the end where you could try and nick one of her eggs, and then she'd attack you, obviously, because you're trying to steal one of her kids. And she was really a really, really tough fight. But then if she killed you, she was all like, "But I'm still gonna let you guys live." So to beat the Titans, and then she does this speech at the end when you win. So yeah, It's kind of weird though, because surely if that was the direction they were going, they'd want to bring Glint back into things when we turn the focus to Kralkasauric.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, spoiler alert: Glint's dead. But you mentioned Glint's cave, and as you go through Glint's cave in Guild Wars 1, it's all made of crystals. And I believe when you get into actually her like lair where she physically is, I think it's more of a purple color. So this could be representative of Glint's cave, or a cave that was maybe created to protect one of her eggs. And then you've got the whole thing about the Zephyrite leader. I just forgot his title.
Master
of Peace. Thank you. Yeah, so then you have the Master of Peace. He's hiding something. We still haven't found him. Is he hiding one of Glint's eggs? The Zephyrites are all about Glint and her offspring and her legacy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But and then when you have Glint is connected to Kralkatorrik. So there's a lot of hints of Kralkatorrik. But we're dealing with Mordremoth right now. We can't have it. We can't be dealing with.
Because the problem is in Brisbane Wildlands, you know where that fort is, and in the top left-hand corner, and they put a load of level 80 champions, not like scaled down to level 25, but they're all level 80. They're all champions. They put them all along there to stop people messing around and trying to escape the map and having to wander around in there. Now the picture of the portal on the Guild Wars 2 website. That is all but certainly just behind the gate at the back of that fort.
Yeah.
And into the back of there. So if you're just going, yes, well, if you look right down here toward the Crystal Desert, there's Kralkatorrik. But we've got a picture of a portal that takes us north of Brisbane Wildlands.
Yeah.
It's mixed messages, ArenaNet. I'm conflicted.
I know. I don't know what to think.
I think they're just really high when they make these, and they're like on something. And think this is really cool. They'll be totally happy and satisfied. And then it's like non-high stone people are like, what the hell is this, guys? Please explain something. But I think it would be really awesome if like Kralkatorrik doesn't have to be like a major quote-unquote theme, perhaps, but I would love the idea of Mordremoth actually actively attacking one of the other dragons' territories to really get the dragons actually interact with each other, because like so far they've been pretty independent of one another, and I would love some dragon on dragon real war, non-sexual kind, which would still be hilarious. But I mean, just have them really go at each other, and that would be pretty amazing. So that's what I would kind of hope for.
Wait, so I think we touched on it last time that all the vines are kind of springing up all across the world, aren't they? And they're certainly making encroachments into Kralkatorrik's
That's very
territory.
true. If Mordremoth's vines are coming up, are spreading all across Tyria, he's going to start going into the territory of the other dragons.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
And they can't be happy about that. So maybe we're going to see it spread into the Crystal Desert. And I want to go to the Crystal Desert so bad. I don't know.
That would sound pretty cool, man.
It's crazy.
But yeah, looking forward to it.
It's going to be awesome. Can't wait. That is November 4th, guys, is when the next episode of The Living Story comes out. So excited. But we've got Halloween to look forward to.
Yay!
Woohoo!
I can break another keyboard doing the Mad King's Clock Tower.
Have you gotten to the top?
I have, yeah.
Yes.
It took me 7 hours to do it in 2012.
Oh, shit.
Oh my gosh!
Hannah, my other half, bless her, she just sat in the other room all day, and I was just like, I'm just gonna do this. Just leave me alone. And,
I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, and in 2012, all the character models were all there, so there was a lot of vitriol against the Norn and the Chaff for getting in the way and all this. And in 2013, they replaced them with these little spirits that kind of bounced up in that. And it only took me 2.5 that time, so it's a definite improvement.
I have never gotten to the top of it, and I think I should stream it this year. I should try and stream it and try and get to the top. Oh my gosh.
I only try to very quickly. I was like, okay, I'm not having any.
I'm done with it. Yeah, no. I didn't try it
no.
for 7 hours. I maybe tried it for half an hour and then said I'm done. I'm like, I can't do it.
It sounds really, really daft to say, oh, you got to think about it like this, but it's a really clever bit of optical illusion, because obviously the illusion you get is that the course is moving. But
Yes.
it's not. It's just the tower in the middle that's spinning
The
around.
tower is spinning, yeah.
And the green goop. And obviously you've got a train that's like, no, I've got to focus on the course. And they go, oh, but the tower's making me feel really weird. And
Yeah.
but it's kind of the rest of Halloween last year. I wasn't won over with, especially compared to 2012. I think that that they, because they were still finding their feet with the living story. You could do like a little bit of the story, and then you had to go off and finish all of the meta achievements, and then get the little candy corn elemental to give to the Uzuran bloke, and then go back and finish the story.
Yeah, that kind of stuff was really kind of immersion breaking. I find when you gotta do it, because if you just want to do achievement type stuff and activities, then it's kind of frustrating to be forced to do the story. Or on the other side, if you just want to do a story like I did, it's like, I don't want to do all this other crap. I just want to freaking do this stuff with this silly little prince. Instead they got this confusing other stuff, and it was annoying.
I do like that for the first Halloween in 2012, we got just all the Halloween stuff because it was all brand new. We got, the Mad King's Labyrinth, and we got all the little mini games and stuff, and we had, of course, Mad King Thorn destroying the lion statue, that poor lion statue, coming up out of there. That was awesome. And then last year we got a little bit more. We got all that same stuff back, but then we got a little bit more. We got introduced to Mad King Edric, or Bloody Prince Edric, Mad King's son,
Bloody
and
Prince.
so we got a little bit more lore to do with the Mad King. But we haven't heard anything that's going to be new about this year's. So we're not sure if we're going to just see the same story repeated, if we're going to get a new story, or if we're going to get nothing at all. Nothing at all as far as nothing new.
Yeah.
Right.
There's one thing that I really would like to see back, and that's the dungeon. Do you remember when he came out of the statue? There was that little dungeon that you could go in underneath that. I thought that was really cool, because you got to play a little bit of Mad King Thorn Says at the beginning as well, which cause everyone remembers, when you're in instance 94 of Lion's Arch in Guild Wars 1, and you're all there playing Mad King Thorn Says and getting knocked over and getting your little goodie bags. And
Yes.
I thought that was really, really cool. And to be honest, the dungeon, it was quite challenging at the time. I seem to remember.
There was, as I remember it, there was different layers of these floating platforms that you had to traverse between, and Mad King Thorn would appear and you had to attack him, and then he would go to another platform and you had to figure out how to get there, and it was, you could easily just fall off the world, and it was fun.
And
I'm actually really hoping that they make that we can get some new. Sorry for interrupting. I hope that we can get some new faces, because those are things I really love to see, especially because I love playing Char, so I love getting the new faces, because they can always look really cool.
Oh, in the gem store, in the makeover kits.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Those,
I
don't
want
see
new
how
faces.
they can't just constantly be bringing those out. We're almost due for another one, because those are so popular. I know that those sell so many. Every time a new hairstyle comes out, I see someone with a new hairstyle or a new hair color. So, yeah.
There's that Super Saiyan kind of Char
For the
hair,
Char.
that massive quiff. If you get a Char with that and then give him the bobblehead stuff, it's just got
it's
it takes up a
gigantic.
third of your screen. This ridiculous Char head. It's amazing. But I remember last year in the labyrinth there was some kind of weird. There was a fairly kind of hefty champion farm, wasn't there? With a lot of pretty vicious bad guys, and There was, oh god, yeah, that's the one thing. Do you remember in the original Halloween there was like there was a PvP kind of tournament that was kind of like Children of the Corn, where you were running through the cornfields and like
yeah.
slicing each other up. I'd really like to see that back because that was kind of creepy. And
I
messed
think
up.
I did that once or twice to try and get an achievement or something. I'm
Yeah.
not that into the PvP, but I do remember that. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
They didn't have that last year.
They didn't.
Did
No,
they? No.
if they did, I missed it. And
Well, they
I
had
was,
last year they like had this PvP thing where like you would there was like there was like folks that were like the ghosts or something, and then there were those that were like the ones that
Yeah,
had to
someone
go
was
hide.
the ghost,
Yeah.
and then the rest were running around trying to kill the ghost, and the ghost was
Oh,
trying
it's-
to kill them.
chasing through the labyrinth like
Yeah,
Scooby-Doo.
yeah, in the labyrinth.
And you know, it's kind of weird because like normally I'm never into PvP, but that game I just kept playing that again and again and again and again. I was really into that, which is like really rare for me to actually be into that kind of PvP type stuff. But I loved it, just with
Nice.
like the whole Halloween atmosphere of it. I guess like the way that the zone looked and just the feel of it, and I just totally got into it. Like totally, I just loved playing it. I was playing for hours. I was just
Cool.
I was like totally hooked. I was like, man, yeah, I love the I love the thing. Yeah, it was great.
What
So
do you guys think they're going to do this year as far as decorations? Because Lion's Arch is all destroyed.
Yeah.
oh right.
That's the point, actually. I don't think they really did anything in the other capital cities, did they? Or if they did, I can't remember.
No, I think it was just Lion's Arch. So
I would like love it if they actually put it into either all of it into one other city, or at least just gave all of the other cities like a good Halloween
Yeah.
facelift, which would be really kind of cool.
could be like because Lion's Arch is destroyed, all the other cities kind of
Just celebrate it, yeah.
have
Just
said, okay, we're going to kind of honor Lion's Arch
Yeah.
and decorate our towns, even if we don't necessarily like. If I don't know if all the races like believe in Halloween.
Yeah.
You know, as
But
far
it'd
as
be
like
cool, right?
decorating the city.
I mean,
I think that would be a lot of work for ArenaNet to do 5 cities. I think
Yeah.
they're just going to do Lion's Arch. Lion's Arch looks pretty creepy and grim anyway, so
Yeah.
if they just
Yeah,
hang
it's
up like some
true, yeah.
pumpkins and have some ghosts flying around, like bam, you're set.
Go
Halloween.
And they-
Squaggin!
and they can slip they can slip in a couple more bits that have been repaired again, because this thing every patch that's come in, they've been really kind of subtle bits and pieces, but it's slowly being repaired. Like the Mystic
Yeah.
Forge is very slowly coming together where it originally was, and yeah, there's little bits like that in there, and
That's a good
yeah.
point.
I think eventually I'd like to see Lion's Arch rebuilt in time for Christmas, in time for Winter's Day.
Oh,
And,
that would be cool.
that'd be lovely.
I think
Lion's
this.
Arch back.
Yes, I think this is. I think I didn't even think about Winter's Day. I think this will be a good
Yeah.
hint of what they're going to do for Winter's Day. Like if we see Lions, like you said, if we see a little bit more of Lion's Arch being rebuilt, which would be cool because they should be slowly rebuilding it, not just. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm glad that it's stayed kind of in ruins for quite a while now. It wasn't just like okay,
Yeah, it was
next week
instantly,
it's all better. Now we rebuilt. You know,
Yeah.
no, it should take a while. Scarlet decimated that place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I like that idea. I think a little bit more of it should be built up, and they should put decorations and stuff. Like you're not going to keep us down. We're still going to have our festivals. I don't care. You know, if
Yeah.
you destroyed it, we're still going to celebrate. We're still going to be, you know, happy with what we have. Yeah. So.
I also just want to quickly say before we move on to another thing was just that like the holiday events, specifically Halloween and Winter's Day and Guild Wars 2, like as far as MMOs go, I've definitely enjoyed these holidays the most, because like the holidays that are in like WoW, for instance, which is my other thing that I play all the time, those holidays are really boring. It's like whenever the WoW holidays come, it's kind of like, it's like I could do this stuff, but they really are boring. Whereas like the Halloween and the Winter's Day in Guild Wars 2, it just feels like a holiday. It's big, you know. There's stuff happening. There's you know, it's stuff, and just like big like designs, like Lion's Arch becomes suddenly all wintry, and you know, like the whole Halloween atmosphere and stuff. It's just really big, whereas like a lot of other MMO holidays are just they just feel really tacked on. Whereas like Guild Wars 2 ones are just really fun. They really help boost the real world holiday for me, I find. So
Cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
really looking forward to it. Really awesome.
Cool. Okay, so we have a couple questions that we got from viewers, but first I wanted to pose a question to you guys about they're constantly releasing new gathering tools, the permanent gathering tools in the gem store that you can buy for 1,000 gems. They keep releasing new skins for them. Obviously it must be working if they keep releasing new skins. Or new animations. It's kind of like a finisher, like they'll release a new finisher and it'll be a new animation. They release new permanent gathering tools. It does the same thing, it just looks different. So what is your guys' stance on permanent gathering tools, and what do you think about them releasing new skins? I mean, obviously it's working for them, or they wouldn't keep releasing new skins. What do you think about that?
I mean, I've got the permanent ones on my main character. So I got the first 3 that they did, and as far as I know, they're still soul bound because I've not gone to the person to make them account bound yet. I don't know. I can't imagine anyone really buying them for the sake of the skin, because the only time that you're ever going to see them is when you harvest something.
Yeah.
And unless you're like a massive YouTube celebrity and everyone realizes that you're online and everyone crowds around you and go, "Oh my God, he's harvesting with the new tools!"
I've waited 6 months to see this. Yeah.
And the thing is, the videos are on Dolphy anyway, so there's
right.
no point. So I mean, whenever I have a look at the gem store stuff, I say, you always got to say, if you think it's worth it, if it's really that important to you that your thing looks a little bit different, go for it. But now that everything that you buy is account bound, or all of the gathering tools are account bound, I don't really see why you need more than one full set if you're going to buy them.
Mm-hmm. I just don't think that people are sitting there like, oh, I want to buy a gathering tool, but I gotta wait for the right skin.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I think that if you want the permanent gathering tools, you just would have bought them already.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now, granted, there is like one that was like a clown. Like, if I really wanted it, I would not have bought the clown. Like, because I hate clowns. So I would have waited for another one. But there's been enough of them that they're, if I really wanted them, I don't have any, by the way, because I play too many alts to have, just one set. So I don't know. I kind of don't get those skins, and they're expensive. It's like over $10 for one harvesting tool.
Yeah, I mean,
kind of insane.
But back when they first came out, this was a while ago, maybe about 18 months ago. Someone figured it out. You need to make your money back on the very first pick that came out. You needed to use it 40,000 times.
Yeah.
I think I mean, if you average it out, if you average the value of the metal nodes out, about 40,000 picks to make your money back.
Yeah, when I saw that, I remember when I saw that stat, I was like, nope, don't need it.
Yeah,
I got some extra spaces in my inventory. That's fine.
There's like a lot other stuff I'd spend gems on than gathering.
I'd rather have an outfit.
Yeah.
Now I'm sure it's an amazing convenience. But
oh yeah, it's pretty great. I mean, the first thing I do when I log in is I drop into my home instance, and do the quick blitz, and that's my daily gatherer and a little bit more. There was one tool that they released a few months ago, and it got a lot of backlash. It was the one that gave you a 20% chance of getting a blade shard as well. No, it's 20% chance of getting a watchwork sprocket from mining something.
I remember that.
And I don't know if they got rid of it, but I remember it certainly wasn't popular because that was a very kind of slightly pay-to-win type deal, because the only way that you can get blade shards at the moment is by mining your sprocket generator in your home instance. And if you've got a tool that gives you that extra chance of getting this material that's no longer available, I think that's pretty dicey. But yeah, like...
But it's blade shards. Like, it's not that big of a deal unless you're... But I know what you're saying.
Yeah. And unless you really want to make another of the big
Right, unless you
backpacks,
desperately
you know?
need one of those.
Yeah.
So I need it in red instead of green, kind of thing. It's like, nah, I don't, I didn't think it was that huge a deal, but it's all account bound anyway. So I think if you're absolutely desperate for a new skin and you've got the money to spare, then yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna move on. We have, like I said, we have 2 questions. And one. Let's see. We have about 10 minutes left in the show. So briefly, if that's possible, what Andra Herdina asks, what do you think about guild halls and guild raids that are apparently happening sometime in the future?
Guild halls.
Guild halls.
They've got to bring them in.
I want guild halls so bad.
One of the things that I thought Guild Wars 1 had over Warcraft, and it was this monopoly that they had. I think up until Lord of the Rings Online came out, that they were the only MMO that had guild halls. Because in Warcraft, you couldn't really just congregate around a bank dude and just be like, yes, this is our guild. It was it was a really cool place to be in Guild Wars 1. You had all the vendors if you put the influence in or the money into them, and you could have guild v guild in the maps as well. And I thought that was really, really cool. So I'd love to see them back. I really would.
Yeah. I just like that it was a place that your guild could go, like you said. And I mean, yeah, congregating in Lion's Arch or wherever you are, it was just a place that you could, quote unquote, physically meet up with your guildies. You know, that, like, I do guild missions every Monday night with my guild, and it's cool because we all get together when, you know, okay, we have to go to this map and get this bounty, and then after we're done, it's like we're all there. And sometimes we even joke, like, okay, this is our new guild hall. You know, like we finished one of the guild, I forget what it's called, but the guild thing where you have to save the 10 quaggins, or however many it is.
Oh, the challenge,
Yes. And we were just, for some reason, there was like 6 or 7 of us just hanging out underwater for some reason after we completed that. And we're like, why are we all just kind of hanging out under the water? And I'm like, new guild hall, under the water right here. And it's like, I wish there was a place for us to all go and just hang out, and I don't know.
Yeah,
I like them.
I'd kind of like it because I've somehow ended up in charge of a fairly large guild, and we're trying to convince people that we're saving all this influence to eventually buy a guild hall, and they're looking at this number, just go, but you don't need all that. It's like, but we might.
It's an entire hall.
I know.
Do you know
and then,
how expensive that's gonna be?
Yeah, and the maintenance costs, and then of course you lot are gonna want NPCs in there,
right?
And that kind of thing, and they already cry enough when we end up with Crab Scuttle on Guild Rush. So you know, it's like then,
oh God, that is the worst.
Then we have to queue another rush, and I'm just like, oh, for God's sake. Actually, just diving back to the feature pack updates, that's one of the things that I really like, that guilds across servers are now all mashed together.
Yes.
And so all your influence is together now.
Yes, and we get the bonuses if we're on a different guild. We get the guild bonuses, and our influence from playing the game goes towards the guild, even if we're on a different server. Yes, I agree. That was one of my favorite things about the feature pack. Love it.
But yeah, I
so
really
convenient.
think we've got to have guild halls. Got to have guild halls.
So raiding possibly coming to Guild Wars 2. Explain that briefly for people who might not have any idea what we're talking about.
Well, they put like there was a kind of leak of like Arena that has a ad for a certain kind of designer on their
they have a
website
site that lists
the
positions that they're currently hiring for.
And it sounds like a raid. From what I read of it, it's as everything they do is open to interpretation. But it was basically saying we need someone who can design epic multiplayer endgame content, which does make everyone think raids. And I'm very interested to see what Guild Wars 2 raids would be, because it's certainly not going to be the kind of tier progression stuff you get in Warcraft and WildStar and all those kinds of games, because Arena has been clear that they're not making that kind of game. So I'd be very interested to see what they're going to do here. Like, I'm hoping that's going to be kind of like Dungeons, but just way more epic and interesting.
Yeah.
and maybe not even have that much more players, like maybe just like 10 perhaps, and just make it a much more interesting experience, and possibly even tie it into the actual living world itself, so that maybe at the end of the seasons they may have this kind of raid, episode
Yeah.
that happens.
I certainly think that the triple-headed worm has highlighted some of the issues that come with open world raid content.
Yes.
Over on the European servers, we've got the GW2 community, and the guys it's the guys on Desolation who got the world first on it. They kind of organize these runs 2 or 3 times a day, and the biggest problem is getting the people who are on TeamSpeak into the map. And I think Wooden Potatoes did a video on it where you play that little mini game of Guild Wars 2 where you right click and press join in Blood Type Post for 45 minutes. And even though I think it was a really great idea to try and do, and the Tequatl fight has worked really well, but I think that was just about the right size to do it, where you can get about 50 people who don't necessarily need to be that coordinated and get them into a map. Right. Everyone kind of knows what's going on there. But if something like the triple-headed worm was to become instanced, so you could get 150 people in that instance where, everyone knows what they're doing, everyone's talking to each other, that's when I think you could start looking at some really, really cool kind of things, even if the dragons became raids themselves, because I know it's been talked about.
That would be awesome.
I know it's been talked about to death, but everyone knows kind of how disappointing the Zaitan fight was at the end of the Arad dungeon. And actually saying, right, we need 60 people to come and kick Mordremoth's ass, that'd be brilliant.
That would be epic.
Giving some kind of, like you say, epicness to it. That'd be really, really cool. And I
didn't even think about that for the Mordremoth fight. Wow, that would be cool.
Well, because it feels like they've I think really liked what they did with the end of Scarlet, to have a kind of sort of group raidish type part to it, but then to also have the final part being a solo thing that you could do that had more of the story.
Yeah.
So that way, if you didn't want to do the big group raid thing, which I personally didn't, I just wanted to do the story thing. It was great it was fantastic to, even though frickin' Brahms is like, we don't care why you did it, and then, you ended her. Of course, we did care why the hell she's doing all this stuff. It was still really cool to actually be the one to actually literally finish her.
Yeah.
And then to actually have the quote unquote raid experience before then, if they can take that idea, and I think this advertising is for creating that kind of content, just more advanced and interesting. That's really interesting to think of the possibilities there. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
To figure out an in-game way for them to organize that many people getting together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have these massive open world events, like in the finale of season 1. There was the battle on the Breachmaker. You go up and fight with Scarlet's giant hologram, and you have a bunch of people on 3 different sections of the ship fighting these holograms, and you kind of have to coordinate. But it was an open world thing. And I found it extremely difficult. It was extremely difficult to find a group that was actually coordinated enough to do it. So if you have a way, if they implement new ways to coordinate people in the game, I think that would be a huge help.
Yeah, I mean, what I think the first time it was highlighted that they were leaning towards this big kind of open world content after Tequatl was the marionette fight.
I love the marionette fight.
I love the marionette. I can't wait for it to come back when they finally open up season 1 in the journal. But yeah, I'm really kind of excited that the way that they said they're really taking on board is like, we want hard content, but we want hard content for people who are like, right, we actually want to do this. We just don't want to AFK and auto attack, because that's it. Kind of sucks that's what people still do, and I'm sure there's people watching this who can attest to people AFKing and auto attacking is the difference between a worm win and a worm fail, and yeah.
Well, let's get to the very last question from Twitter @Fromage. That's the only way I know how to say that. Fromage.
Fromage.
Do you think that Mordremoth will wake the other dragons? We kind of talked about this a little bit. Do you think that Mordramoth will actually wake the other dragons? Now, that makes me sound like on purpose.
All of them are already awake, aren't they? With the
Aren't they
So
all
maybe
awake?
again, there's a difference between them being awake and them being, like, risen. Like I said, when Zaitan rose, like, he destroyed shit everywhere. You know, like, when Mordramoth actually rises, he's probably going to destroy the Brisbane Wildlands. Do you think he's
I really wish they would rise, because...
Do you think he'll wake other dragons? That makes me think, like, do you think he wants to cooperate with other dragons? I don't think so. Because they're pretty much naturally against each other.
Yeah, I think from kind of what you can infer from Mordramoth in the open world, he doesn't really care about what the others are doing. That he's encroaching on people's territory and that kind of thing. And I think Mordramoth only awoke 7 years after Krakatorrik. Is that right? Or is that Krakatorrik only awoke 7 years after? So somebody woke up too early. So that's all I know. Someone woke up too early. And
Mordramoth woke up too early.
Oh yeah. That's the Scarlet Girl.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be interesting to see if I mean the main issue I have with it would be with the story that is like we barely won against Zaitan.
Yeah.
And so facing Kralkatorrik, Bubbles, Mordramoth, Primordus, and Jormag at the same time.
We're dead.
Yeah. We're so dead. We might as well not even bother. Let's call it a day. And just...
Bring back Dragon Bash and we'll just all get drunk and party in Lion's Arch until we're dead.
Yeah, that's like the really kind of interesting thing with the Guild Wars 2 story theme is that they have these, you know, uber dragon gods, for lack of a better term, that are like literally forces of nature, and it's like, how do you fight that kind of thing? I mean, like, we technically did with Zaitan.
Apparently with big guns and pressing 1 and 2.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, you know, like, I'm like really interested to know what Bubbles is like. Just because, like, the...
I'm not. He can stay in the water. I would like to know his name, though.
The underwater expansion.
No.
Not even if it gets us through to Cantha?
If we had to swim to Cantha? Oh, boy. I don't know.
Just swim.
I just find it really kind of like buzzes like the imagination to think of like what could this deep sea dragon be like. That's just what and just because like the deep sea scares the crap out of me. So, you know, I just really curious to see what the heck that could possibly be. That and Primordus. I'd love to see Primordus shake his little tush and rise out of the earth, stomp around, and just have like Godzilla fights. That's what I want. I want to have these.
That's why you want Dragon versus Dragon. You're thinking about like Godzilla versus like
Rodan.
Another Godzilla.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's the best thing. You know, we can all just like sit and eat popcorn as like, you know, like Primordus and like Zaitan, and everyone was like, bring it on, and like we'll be like, wow, this is crazy, guys. Yeah.
All right, guys. I think we are going to wrap up the show here. Shout out to Corvus, who must have had computer or webcam or internet problems. We are in our hearts, and hopefully next time we'll actually have 4 people for GuildGab. Thank you guys for watching. You can check out where my Akasaurus Rex on his channel and on his Facebook. All the links are going to be in the description. You can check out Alex at the RPG Shack here on YouTube. He's putting out lots and lots of videos about all kinds of Guild Wars 2 and other games and betas, and you've been putting out a lot of content.
Yeah, Wasteland 2 released the other day, and I just want to kind of not blast through it, but I want to get it out of the way before Dragon Age Inquisition comes out, and I have to start making videos about Guild Wars 2. So,
right.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, guys. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. No promises when that's going to be. Hopefully we can all get together. All right.
Sometime at the end of the month, maybe. Yeah.
Indeed. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.
Bye. Thanks
Yeah.
for watching, guys. Take care. Bye.